In a small room, illuminated by a dim light, Daniela was sitting in front of the computer, her silhouette silhouetted against the window. With a determined sigh, she thought, another day, another chance. She had been trapped in an exhaustive routine for months, waking up, preparing a modest breakfast, and diving into the depths of the internet in search of a job, always hoping that today would be the day of her big change. There has to be something here for me, she told herself, moving the cursor over the screen, her eyes scanning every line, every word, searching for that position that could catapult her career and, more crucially, life. Her, Daniela, with agile and determined fingers. Typed responses, sent resumes, highlighting her fluency in English and her technical skills, an arsenal that she considered her advantage in this competitive market. Why is it so complicated? She wailed loudly, the echo of her filling the empty room. She felt she had the necessary skills and determination, but something was missing. She leaned back in her chair, closed her eyes for a moment, and allowed herself a moment of calm, mentally going over each interview, each application submitted, wondering if there was anything else she could do, some detail she had overlooked. Maybe it's time to revamp my resume, she thought, the idea flashing through her mind like a bolt of inspiration. Determined to take a new approach, Daniela opened her eyes and, with a wave of renewed determination, she began writing a new resume, this time infusing a personal touch into each application. I am not just another candidate, she wrote, her words filled with the passion and energy she felt for her professional future. With each shipment of hers, she allowed herself to dream, imagining herself walking the halls of a large company, her mind bubbling with ideas and projects that would drive organizational success. As the day progressed, the soft golden light of the evening enveloped Daniela in a warm embrace. She paused, looked outside, allowing herself a brief rest. I can't give up, she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Somewhere, there is an opportunity waiting for me. I just have to find it. With that thought, she stood up, stretched her tired muscles, but her determination remained firm. She knew the road would be arduous, but she also knew that her resilience and passion would guide her through any storm. Turning back to the computer, she took a deep breath and dove back into her task. Each application, a seed of hope thrown to the wind, waiting to germinate in fertile soil, the screen shone, illuminating Daniela's determined face, highlighting a message among everyone, sent by Mariano from Agritech, a leading company in the agricultural machinery sector. Mariano was not just any name for Daniela, she immediately recognized him as the owner of the company, an almost mythical figure in the sector. Her heart was racing, a mix of anxiety and excitement coursing through her body. Could this be real? She wondered, rereading the message to make sure of its authenticity. Mariano expressed his interest in Daniela's resume and invited her to an interview. Could this be the opportunity I've been waiting for? He thought, responding to the message immediately, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. They scheduled the interview for the next day, and Daniela spent the rest of the day preparing. She reviewed her resume, researched everything she could about Agritech and Mariano, wanting to absorb as much information as possible. I need to impress, I need to live up to it, she told herself as she chose her interview outfit, looking for something professional that also reflected her personality. The night was long, with Daniela tossing and turning in bed, trying to calm her nerves and remembering all the achievements that had brought her to this point. At dawn, with the sky tinted orange and pink, Daniela was already awake, ready to face what she considered the most important day of her professional career. She ate a light breakfast, practiced some answers in front of the mirror, and left the house, a mix of determination and nervousness coursing through her veins. During the trip to Agritech, her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and possible scenarios. This is my chance, I can't waste it, she encouraged herself, aware of the weight of her decisions and actions. Upon arriving in front of the Agritech building, an imposing structure that symbolized success and innovation in the agricultural sector, Daniela stopped to look. The reflection of the sun on the glass created a mosaic of light and shadow. So big, so intimidating, she thought, her heart pounding, but she also felt awe and anticipation for what was to come. I can be part of this, she allowed herself to dream, although her nervousness was still present. What if I'm not what they're looking for? What if I make a mistake when I speak? Doubts flooded her mind. But she took a deep breath, searching deep inside her for the strength and confidence that she knew she had. It has not been easy to get here. I have made an effort, I have prepared myself, I deserve this opportunity, she stated to herself, taking a step forward towards the entrance of Agritech, the door to a new chapter in her life that was ready to open. There, just before entering, Daniela allowed herself one last moment of reflection. Although she didn't know exactly what position she was being considered for, she understood that this was an opportunity to prove her worth. With her heart pounding in a mixture of nervousness and expectation, Daniela steeled herself with courage and determination. "Come on," she breathed in a courageous whisper before taking that decisive step towards the entrance of Agritech. Pushing open the door, she felt as if the weight of the world fell on her shoulders, a moment loaded with meaning. The lobby, spacious and bathed in light, featured the company logo, a symbol of pride, on one of its walls. A receptionist greeted her, verified her information and guided her through corridors that exuded the seriousness and prestige of Agritech in the agricultural field, until she reached Mariano's office. As she entered, she found herself face to face with Mariano, a man whose name was a benchmark for success and innovation. He, with a welcoming smile, invited her to sit down. "Daniela, it's a pleasure to meet you," she began, kicking off an interview full of questions about experience and qualifications. Despite her nerves, Daniela responded with confidence, until Mariano changed the tone of the conversation to talk about the current situation of the company. "We must be frank, Daniela. The position for which we were considering you, unfortunately, does not take advantage of your full potential," Mariano admitted, offering her a position as a cleaner in her place. Daniela was struck by her surprise and disappointment, but as she stood up to thank Mariano, a spark of determination washed over her. Turning to him, she stated, "I accept the job." Her voice was firm, a reflection of her inner resolve to start from the bottom and prove herself. Mariano, impressed by her attitude, nodded respectfully. "Welcome to Agritech. Your determination is admirable. You start tomorrow." With mixed feelings, Daniela left the office. Despite her disappointment, a flame of defiance burned within her. "I'll show them what I'm capable of," she promised herself, facing the sun shining outside, although inside her, storms of doubt threatened to break loose. Had she made the right decision? Although it seemed like a setback, she saw this as the first step toward something bigger. The next day, dressed in her cleaner's uniform, Daniela arrived at Agritech ready to face the day with dignity. It wasn't long before Antonio, the company manager, made the first mockery. "Just look at Agritech's new star," he said sarcastically, his words laden with contempt. Although the heat of humiliation rose on her face, Daniela faced him with her head held high. "We all start from somewhere, Antonio," she replied, her firm voice revealing her inner strength and her determination to work hard, defying prejudice and proving her worth. Daniela, facing the dawn with a sky that was barely waking up, dressed with determination along with her uniform. With the thought of "today will be better," she crossed the entrance to Agritech, remembering the challenge that her first day had posed. It wasn't just her physical effort, but also the weight of her stares and judgments that had tested her. Still, she was determined to prove her worth, no matter what title she carried. Antonio, with her contempt for Daniela still growing, saw the perfect opportunity to try to humiliate her even more. He maliciously mixed oil and water in one of the hallways, creating a slippery trap that was not only dangerous but also a direct challenge to Daniela's skills. When she discovered the mess, her heart sank, but she carefully and determinedly began the cleanup. Under the watchful eyes of some curious colleagues, Daniela knew that this type of mess would not only require extra effort but would also test her competence in maintaining company standards. Every corner, every space that she cleaned, she did it with a dedication that went beyond the professional. It was a personal battle, a challenge to herself to prove that her worth was not defined by circumstances. In a moment of rest, looking in the bathroom mirror, she said to herself, "This does not define me. I know who I am and what I am capable of doing. And someday, they will see it too." That promise, made in the stillness of her heart, rekindled the hope that the interview had almost extinguished. She left the bathroom not as a victim of circumstances, but as someone determined not to let herself be defeated. Antonio's provocation and the others' laughter only served to fuel her determination. Daniela was aware that the road would be difficult, but she also knew that the true tests of strength come from overcoming the toughest challenges, not from easy victories. At the end of the day, exhausted but firm, Daniela reflected on her situation while she ate dinner. The lack of respect from her colleagues was a new challenge for her, but she was willing to face it. "I've never been treated like this," she thought. However, her determination grew stronger with each adversity. Antonio scoffed, sarcastically downplaying her effort. "Work? You mean cleaning the floor?" And he sought support from her colleagues for her cruelty. "I hope you're as good with a rag as you are with words," she said, as Daniela, her determination even stronger after the confrontation, walked away, determined not to let the limited vision of people like Antonio dictate her worth or destiny. Mariano was immersed in Agritech's financial reports when the phone broke into his concentration. The call was crucial, informing him of the soon arrival of an innovative agricultural machine, a key addition to the company. However, the manufacturer had set one condition: the training on how to operate the machine would be entirely in English, unfortunately coinciding with Mariano's essential meeting with investors. Given the importance of not missing a single detail about this addition, Mariano called an emergency meeting. "We need someone who is fluent in English," he stated, looking around at each of the assembled employees, hoping to find the right person. In the midst of this dilemma, Daniela, in her effort to leave the hallway spotless after the sabotage, was found by Mariano. Her face reflected surprise and concern when she saw the disaster. "What happened here, Daniela?" he asked, more worried than angry. Taking a breath, she confronted Mariano with the truth. "I came across this. I'm doing my best to clean it up efficiently. I assure you, it wasn't me who caused this mess," she explained sincerely, to which Mariano responded with a softened look, understanding the situation. The interaction with Mariano, although brief, injected Daniela with an extra dose of determination. "I will see to it that something like this does not happen again on my watch," she promised, returning to her task with renewed impetus. Despite being focused on cleaning, her thoughts were already projecting towards how she could contribute more significantly to Agritech in the future. What she did not yet know was that her resilience and dedication, even in the face of adversity created by acts of sabotage, were beginning to sculpt a journey that would take her beyond her current role, to positions of greater impact and responsibility within the company. This unexpected path and her ability to face challenges with integrity were about to intersect with Mariano's need to find someone fluent in English for orientation on the new machinery. The delicate situation in which Daniela was found meticulously cleaning up the mess, and her subsequent interaction with Mariano, showed not only her commitment to her work, but also how moments of adversity can transform into unexpected opportunities. Setting the stage to reveal skills and determination that previously went unnoticed, Mariano was impressed by the integrity and thoughtfulness that Daniela showed when speaking. I understand your perspective and respect your decision. How would you like a mid-level position? A supervisor position would be a step up without being too big of a leap. Daniela considered the new proposal. Being a supervisor would offer her a challenge, a chance to grow professionally at a more manageable pace. I accept, said Daniela. It is a fair opportunity that allows me to contribute and learn simultaneously. The next day, Daniela did not arrive at Agritech as a cleaner, but as a supervisor. News of her promotion spread quickly, surprising many and raising doubts in others. On her first day in the new position, a mixture of nerves and expectations filled Daniela. The responsibility of her new role weighed heavily on her shoulders, but she was determined to face the challenge head-on. As she walked down the hallway of Agritech, she thought, this is a new beginning, an opportunity to make a difference. Here I will earn her respect with effort and dedication. It was a silent commitment that made not only for the company, but for itself, a promise of improvement and leadership. When Daniela and Carlos, one of the technicians, met under the new dynamic, he was direct. How do you plan to manage all of us? Coming from such a different position. There was no malice in his question, just genuine curiosity. Daniela looked at him with a mixture of firmness and calm, and responded, I understand the doubts, Carlos, but I am here to learn and grow with the team. My vision. Mariano had asked what she meant earlier, but Daniela responded with dignity and tact. I believe everyone deserves an opportunity to grow and learn. Antonio's words do not define my ability or my value to this company. Mariano nodded, respecting the maturity with which Daniela handled the situation. I agree, and that is why I want to offer you the position of manager, replacing Antonio. You have proven to have the qualities we value in a leader. Daniela felt a mixture of surprise and temptation when she heard the offer. The idea of rising so quickly and validating her worth so concretely was appealing, but something inside her wavered. Mariano, I am truly honored by the offer, but accepting it would be unfair to both myself and the team. I still have a lot to learn about the company and about myself in a leadership role. Moving up to the manager position now would be premature and, it could cause more division than unity. Give Antonio another chance, maybe he will change. Antonio, watching from afar, murmured contemptuously, she thinks she can lead us, that's a joke. I'm the manager, the one in charge here. His envy was a living flame of resentment. Unable to see in Daniela the qualities of a true leader. But Daniela, in an act of genuine leadership, confronted Antonio when he challenged her authority in front of the team. I believe that together, as a team, we can find the solution. My job is to support and facilitate our success, not to give all the answers. Her collaborative and inclusive approach not only reinforced her position as a supervisor, but also highlighted her leadership. The relationship between Daniela and Carlos grew stronger, a bond built on mutual respect and admiration. Carlos, reflecting on his time with Daniela, admitted, "You showed me what it means to be a true leader, someone who elevates everyone around him." It was a recognition of her positive impact on the team and Agritech in general. On a morning that seemed to be like any other, Daniela walked through the hallways of Agritech with the confidence of someone who already felt firm in her new position. Today I will review the team's progress on the new irrigation project, she thought, excited by the opportunity to drive innovation in the company. However, upon her arrival at the testing site, an unexpected problem arose. Antonio had tampered with a crucial component of the irrigation system, an act of sabotage with potentially disastrous consequences. "This is not right," Daniela murmured, watching the water flood the experimental plantations. Carlos, approaching with a worried expression, was the first to verbalize the problem. "Daniela, we have a big problem." The irrigation system is out of control and we cannot reverse the situation from the control panel. Then we will need to turn off the system manually. Do you know where the access to manual control is? Daniela asked Carlos. Her words at the meeting not only sought to convince Carlos, but also to reaffirm her own belief in his capabilities and in the potential of collaboration to overcome challenges and seek innovation at Agritech. Daniela brought new ideas and incredible energy to the team, and they were achieving results that previously seemed impossible. Her admiration was not only for Daniela's work, but for how she inspired and united the team. Already in the problem area, Daniela worked quickly on the screws of the access panel with steady hands, seeking to stop the main irrigation. "Carlos, help me open this," she instructed calmly, as her mind evaluated solutions to keep the situation under control. Antonio, watching from afar with a satisfied smile, thought that his plan to discredit Daniela was about to materialize. "She will never be able to solve this. I did my best to make it impossible to fix." However, as Daniela led the team and analyzed the system with a mix of technical knowledge and natural leadership, the situation began to resolve. Carlos, watching her, couldn't hide his admiration. "Daniela, you really know what you're doing," he told her, her voice showing respect and amazement at how she handled the problem. Antonio, upon realizing that his plan was failing, began to feel restless and doubted. How can he be achieving it? It is not possible, he just has to be. With the system finally shut down and the crisis averted, Daniela turned to the team with a relieved smile on her face. "Teamwork solves everything. Let's fix what caused this problem and make sure it doesn't happen again," he said, reaffirming his leadership and recognizing everyone's contribution. Carlos, next to Daniela, expressed his gratitude. "You really saved us today. Agritech is lucky to have you as a supervisor and I am very happy to be able to work with you," he stated, solidifying the respect and friendship that had grown between them. Antonio, on the other hand, retreated into the shadows, his frustration and envy growing. The day had been irrefutable proof of Daniela's courage and competence, making it clear that her attempts to harm her only made her stronger. "I don't know what to do anymore. If this continues, I'm going to lose my job to a mere cleaner," he thought bitterly. After resolving the irrigation system situation, peace at Agritech was only momentary. A new crisis arose, this time involving the newly arrived agricultural machine, whose complexity and advanced technology were vital to the company's future projects. However, a configuration error threatened the integrity of the machine and the schedule of important agricultural experiments. Daniela was urgently called to the place where the machine was installed, her heart beating at an accelerated rate, aware of the weight of the situation. "I need to solve this. There is no option," she thought as she evaluated the machine with attentive eyes, seeking to identify the origin of the problem. The dense, complex manual was in her hands, and Daniela immersed herself in reading, her fluency in English proving to be as crucial as her technical ability. After a few tense moments, Daniela exclaimed with relief, "Here is the error, in the configuration of the power system. We need to reset the parameters as indicated in the manual." With the technical team at her side, she guided the reconfiguration process with precision and clarity, translating the manual's technical instructions step by step. Her ability to link technical and linguistic knowledge was key to unraveling the solution and avoiding a significant problem for the company. "This should solve our problem," Daniela said, watching intently as the machine rebooted and worked perfectly, as expected. The relief was palpable among those present, a collective sigh of relief and admiration for the supervisor who, once again, proved to be an exceptional leader. Mariano, informed of Daniela's success, made a point of meeting her personally to express her gratitude. "Daniela, your performance today was extraordinary," he began, her gaze overflowing with respect. "Not only did you save the company from a huge loss, but you also showed impressive leadership and competence. Your ability to bring together technical knowledge and language skills at critical moments is exactly what Agritech needs. I am sincerely grateful to have you on our team." Daniela, listening to Mariano's words, felt a wave of pride and satisfaction. "Thank you, Mariano, I am here to contribute and make a difference. It is gratifying to see that we can overcome challenges when we work together," she responded, her voice reflecting the dedication and commitment she felt for the company and the team. The crisis with the new machine not only reinforced Daniela's position as a valued leader at Agritech, but also solidified the respect and admiration Mariano and her team had for her. As Daniela continued to face challenges and lead competently, it became clear that her journey at Agritech was just beginning, promising even more achievements and success for both her and the company. After the successful resolution of the crisis with the new machine, the atmosphere at Agritech had transformed into one of relief and celebration. However, for Daniela and Carlos there was a lingering unease, a suspicion that recent events were not mere coincidences or random glitches. United by a determination, they began a discreet investigation, reviewing system logs, security cameras, and access to equipment. What they discovered confirmed their suspicions. Antonio's fingerprints were everywhere, a trail of evidence that pointed directly to him as the origin of the sabotage. Armed with evidence, Daniela confronted Antonio not with the heat of anger, but with the cold calm of justice. "Antonio, I know what you did," she began, her voice firm and unwavering. "Not only did you put the company and our projects at risk, but you attempted to damage the trust and hard work of the entire team." Antonio, faced with the accusations and the incontrovertible evidence, just rolled his eyes, his arrogance still pulsing in his veins. "Okay, I'll stop sabotaging," he said, his voice dripping with a mix of defeat and disdain. There was no apology, just a reluctant recognition that he had been caught. The matter did not end with Antonio's confession. Daniela, with Carlos's support, took the case to Mariano, providing a detailed account of Antonio's actions and how his conduct had not only threatened the safety and success of the company, but had also corroded the morale of the company. Equipment. Mariano listened attentively, the seriousness of the situation weighing on his decisions. "Daniela, your leadership and dedication in facing and solving these problems not only saved Agritech from potential disasters, but also revealed a level of commitment and courage that is rare," Mariano expressed, his admiration for Daniela clear in his words. At a time when Daniela felt she was ready to accept new challenges, Mariano offered her the manager position again. "Your ability to lead with integrity and your vision for the company are precisely what we need moving forward," she told him. Daniela, honest and determined, accepted. "Thank you, Mariano. It is time to promote positive change at Agritech, not only in our projects but in the culture of our company." The next day, upon being officially introduced as the new manager, Daniela did not see the position as a symbol of power, but as a platform to implement significant changes, promoting a more inclusive, ethical, and collaborative work environment. "Together we will build a stronger, more united and more innovative Agritech," she promised her team, with every word imbued with a genuine commitment to the company's future. Her promotion to manager, marked by a notable salary increase, was not a personal victory, but rather a recognition of her leadership ability and her potential for collective growth. With Carlos at her side as a trusted ally and the team rallied in support, Daniela was ready to guide Agritech to new horizons, seeing each future challenge not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity to demonstrate the true value of leadership, collaboration and innovation. At the dawn of a new era at Agritech, Daniela entered the office with her eyes full of determination and innovative ideas. Now as a manager, she was ready to implement changes that would not only transform the work dynamic but also cultivate a more inclusive and fair environment. Her first act in office was to promote Carlos to supervisor, a decision that reflected not only the trust she placed in him, but also her vision of collaborative leadership. Carlos, upon receiving the news of his promotion, could not hide the mixture of surprise and pride. "Daniela, this is incredible, but to be honest, I already knew about your promotion," Mariano told me, he revealed, his smile radiating satisfaction and admiration for Daniela. "I look forward to working together, promoting the changes that Agritech so badly needs." While Carlos and Daniela shared a moment of celebration and planning for the future, Antonio faced the harsh reality of his actions. Demoted from manager to cleaning agent, his anger was growing like a storm ready to break. "This is humiliating," he vented alone when faced with the task of cleaning the same hallways he once walked with authority. "Daniela is going to pay for this," he murmured, unable to accept his fall and the rise of the one he had underestimated. On her first day as manager, Daniela called a meeting with the entire team, outlining her goals and emphasizing the importance of collaboration, mutual respect, and valuing each function within the company. "Each of us has a crucial role to play at Agritech. Innovation, efficiency, and success are fruits of our work together," she declared, her voice full of conviction and inspiration. The team's reaction was mixed but predominantly positive. Many felt motivated by Daniela's vision, recognizing the opportunity to contribute to a company that valued her ideas and efforts. Carlos, now as supervisor, became an essential link between Daniela and her team, facilitating communication and helping to implement the new policies. However, for Antonio and some of his closest followers, the change was a hard blow to the ego, accustomed to an environment where hierarchy and authority were currencies of power. The idea of equality and the emphasis on teamwork seemed threatening. Antonio, in particular, was struggling to adjust to his new reality, his mind filling with plans for revenge. Although the effectiveness of those plans was questionable in the face of Daniela's strong leadership and growing popularity, Antonio's patience reached its limit. On a silent night at Agritech, while the company rested in the calm of darkness, he was alone in the building, moved by a volatile mix of anger and despair. "They'll see, all of them," he muttered to himself, his thoughts echoing through the empty hallways as he prepared his plan for revenge. His intention was clear: to create a mess so monumental that it would disrupt not only the daily routine but also cast doubt on Daniela's leadership abilities, spilling documents, knocking over equipment and sabotaging work areas, leaving a trail of chaos behind. Daniela arrived early at Agritech as was her custom, but the scene she found was one of total devastation. "What happened here?" she exclaimed in horror. Without hesitation, she picked up the phone and called Mariano, his voice shaking but determined. "Mariano, you need to come here, something terrible has happened," she explained, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. One by one, the employees began to arrive, each one reacting with shock and disbelief at the chaos that awaited them. Carlos was one of the first to arrive and, upon seeing the state of the company, his concern immediately turned to Daniela and the impact this would have on the team. "This is a disaster," she told Mariano over the phone, his tone laden with concern. "We need to act quickly to clean this up and make sure it doesn't harm our work." When Mariano arrived, the tension was palpable. He assessed the damage with a somber look, knowing that recovery would require more than simple cleanup efforts. "Let's check the security cameras," he announced determinedly, his voice carrying a promise of action, a guarantee that justice would be done. Antonio, among those present, felt how fear was growing inside him. What if they find out? He thought apprehensively, the thought of being caught in his own trap now a real possibility that he hadn't fully considered in his furious state. Meanwhile, in the office, Daniela and Mariano watched the security camera recordings, isolated from the curious and worried glances of the other employees. The atmosphere was charged with somber expectation. Little by little, the clear images of Antonio appearing on the screen as the cause of the vandalism transformed his expressions into shock and disbelief. "I can't believe Antonio would do something like that," Daniela murmured, her voice shaking not only from the betrayal, but from the magnitude of the damage done to the company and the team's morale. Mariano, with the seriousness of a leader confronted with a deep crisis, picked up the phone without hesitation. "I'm calling the police. This goes beyond a simple internal matter, it's vandalism and sabotage," he declared, each word carrying the gravity of the situation. Calling the authorities was not only a legal necessity, but a step to restore order and trust within Agritech. As Mariano made the call, the tension in the office was palpable, a mix of anger, sadness, and determination to face the consequences of that desperate act of sabotage. Daniela, although shaken, rallied internally, preparing for what would come next, knowing that her leadership would demand more of her now than ever. Back in the main space, Carlos and the others waited for news, uncertainty weighing in the air. Antonio, sensing the imminent arrival of the consequences of his actions, made a hasty decision in a moment of panic. He tried to run out of Agritech, pushing Carlos with frantic urgency. However, upon reaching the exit and emerging towards the freedom he imagined, he came face to face with the police who had already arrived. Alerted by Mariano. With no time to react or flee, he was quickly handcuffed, each movement followed by the gazes of his colleagues who came down to witness the scene. Antonio's capture in front of Agritech, under the gaze of all the employees, was a moment of collective catharsis but also of sadness. It was the tumultuous end of a chapter in the company's history, marked not by overcoming external challenges, but by internal betrayal. As Antonio was led to the police car, the Agritech team watched, a mixture of relief and regret in his eyes. Mariano approached Antonio, pausing a moment to look him in the eyes. "Antonio, this could have been avoided. You had the potential and respect of all of us." Daniela arrived early at Agritech as she usually did, but she found a bleak outlook. "What happened here?" she exclaimed, dismayed to see the devastation. Immediately, she picked up the phone and called Mariano, telling him in a trembling but determined voice, "Mariano, you need to come, something terrible has happened," expressing the seriousness of the situation. When the employees arrived, each one reacted with shock and disbelief at the mess they found. Carlos, one of the first to arrive, shared his concern with Mariano over the phone. "This is a disaster. We have to act quickly to prevent it from affecting our work." Mariano, sensing the tension of the moment, arrived and seriously assessed the damage, stating that they would review the security cameras to find the person responsible. "We will do justice," he assured with determination. Antonio, seeing all this, felt fear growing, worried about being discovered. Meanwhile, in a secluded office, Daniela and Mariano watched the recordings, seeing the clear images of Antonio causing the vandalism. "I can't believe Antonio did this," Daniela murmured, overwhelmed not only by the betrayal but also by the damage caused. Determined, Mariano picked up the phone and called the police. "This is vandalism and sabotage," he said seriously, understanding that more than an internal solution was necessary, it was essential to restore order and trust within Agritech. As the police arrived and Antonio tried to flee in a desperate panic, he was detained and handcuffed as everyone watched, marking a moment of collective catharsis but also deep sadness at the betrayal of a previously respected member of the team. Mariano, facing Antonio, said with a firm and sad look, "This could have been avoided. You had our respect and potential." He then headed to the police station to resolve the situation, leaving Daniela in charge. Daniela, in front of a still stunned team, assumed leadership with conviction. "Today we face a great challenge, but it is also a time to remember the strength we have when we are united," she began, her voice growing in confidence. "What happened does not define us. We are a family at Agritech, built on respect, integrity, and passion for our work. We are going to come out of this stronger. Carlos, moved by his words, expressed his enthusiastic support, followed by applause from everyone present, marking a moment of recognition of his leadership and the beginning of a new chapter under his guidance. In the following days, led by Daniela and with Carlos as a pillar of support, Agritech began to heal and rebuild. At the end of an intense week, Daniela and Carlos sat together, watching the sunset. "Do you think we managed to overcome all this?" Carlos asked with admiration. Daniela, looking at him with a smile, responded, "With you by my side, I believe we can overcome anything. Thank you for being with me and for believing in me." Thus, in a moment of quiet camaraderie, Daniela and Carlos were not only colleagues but also close friends, united by experiences that had challenged them but, in the end, strengthened their mutual trust and respect. Agritech, now under the direction of Daniela with the support of Carlos and Mariano, was not only in good hands but also destined to reach new heights of success and innovation.